better go ahead and purchase them Tigers tickets because we're going to the World Series this year. But anyway, look, man, more importantly, I got my special guest here, Jared Bell. What's going on with you? He's been here before. He's a familiar face that y'all have heard on the pod before and that y'all have seen on the pod. So Jared came in today because, he's in a way trying to put me in check. He said he got to put me in check. He got some questions that I need to answer. So of course I'm like, let's get it, man. Let's get into it. So Jared, I'm not even gonna start and tell the people what we talking about. They obviously know we talking about the finals, and I'm gonna just leave it to you. What questions is it that is bothering you that you just got to get off your chest where I got to answer?
Well, first and foremost, I would like to say thank you because it's always a pleasure to be on the run here with you, Manny.
Oh, I
But no, I'm
appreciate
about
it.
to say we have our NBA Finals matchup. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder, we got the Indiana Pacers. I
Europe.
mean, I feel like you know ball. So I just wanted to ask you some questions to get a little bit more insight. I ain't been watching as much as I need to be as a sports fan, but so we have Indiana, Oklahoma City. They're
Yep.
headlined by two lead guards, Tyrese Haliburton, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP. And I ain't gonna lie, one of the more polarizing point guards in terms of his personality in the league, Tyrese Haliburton. So who does
Okay.
this finals mean more to, Shai Gilgeous or Tyrese Haliburton?
So I'm gonna go here, man. This is a tough one here. I think Halliburton. Both of them are in unique situations because they both are so young and they're both like getting to the finals for the first time. It's hard to decipher which one is like, all right, he has to win now and he has to win. For SGA, I think it's extremely important for him coming from the Western Conference because obviously the West is always talented. The West is always, a heavy competition field. So with them kind of in a way now being the top dogs, this would solidify that spot in the Western Conference. All regular season, they were top dogs, number one seed, obviously, but winning a championship would kind of solidify them as that next best dynasty, possibly, or possibly the next best elite team in the Western Conference that's going to be here for a minute. The previous years, we all seen, obviously, Nikola Jokic is here. Denver Nuggets, they won them a championship. So it's like you get to the playoffs now, you got to run through Nikola Jokic at some point, and it's never going to be easy. If Thunder win this, and even if they lose this, I think this says that about this season and this postseason run that they've had is no matter if they win or lose in the finals, either way, you're going to have to worry about OKC no matter how good your team is, no matter what seed they are. You're going to have to worry about them because at this point, they're already made it in the postseason and they're kicking butt. So part of me wants to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder. But however, them boys in Indy play good basketball. Them boys, they solid over there. So the importance of it all, I want to go with Tyrese Haliburton and the Indiana Pacers, man. I know some people not going to like that I'm choosing them in terms of importance, but I think the Oklahoma City Thunder have a larger window of how soon they can continue to get back to the NBA Finals. Obviously, Wolves got a lot of guys on contracts right now that are up. So Nas Reed, he might be leaving. They're going to have to open up the checkbooks for him. Jaden McDaniels, he's going to be possibly going somewhere if they don't open up the checkbooks for him. Alexander Walker is another guy where they might have to open up the checkbooks. So Thunder, they have a wider window to continue to be good, whereas the rest of the teams in the West aren't really on much right now besides the Denver Nuggets and some teams that's moving some things around. Versus you look in the Eastern Conference, the Indiana Pacers, Tyrese Haliburton. You got the Pistons on the come up. You got the Knicks who are already here. You got the Bucks who are trying to make something shake. You can never count Giannis out of the picture. So it's a lot more things going on. And then obviously, how could I forget the defending champs, the Boston Celtics? There's a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference who are ready to compete now for a championship compared to the Western Conference where some of those teams in the West still need work. Whereas Thunder, they're already solidified. If they don't win this year, you can count on them probably going back to the finals next year. And it's just not so much of a sure thing for the Indiana Pacers right now.
So I feel like the Pacers have built their team well. And so my arrow points to Tyrese Halliburton because he has become the leader of the team, even with Pascal Siakam having his moments and everything. So I
Yep.
feel like Tyrese Halliburton plays with a chip on his shoulder, and I feel like the Indiana Pacers have taken on that mentality of being a team of underrated players, but who are also really good and could definitely catch fire at any time.
Yep.
So and also for Shea, there's more pressure on Shea because Shea's the MVP. So Shea,
Mm.
this is more of a prove it thing for Shea. Shea has to prove his MVP. He's in the finals. He's given this opportunity to play in the NBA finals against Tyrese Haliburton and a very hot Pacers team. So it'll be very interesting to see.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. There is a lot of pressure that comes with the MVP. But I feel like it can be, vice versa in a way of with Tyrese Haliburton because he didn't win any type of conference finals MVP or nothing. It went to Siakam, which I thought was very well deserved. But Halliburton is a guy who does not get the respect as a star and has not been getting the respect as a star all season, even though he's been great all season. In the playoffs, people still don't really give him the respect. They say he's overrated. He's not really the best on the team, and he doesn't really do much to help out the team. And like a lot of that praise is really going to Siakam now, which it should, but also you can't just really discredit what Halliburton is doing. So I do like that SGA is MVP, and he deserves it. But
Yeah.
also, Tyrese Haliburton has a lot to prove too, because this is a guy they claimed he was underrated after he done had a buzzer beater in every series of the playoffs so far.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I'm really leaning to like to Tyrese Halliburton taking that fire to Shea for real.
Yeah, I think it happens, man, and it's gonna be a unique matchup, man, because like you said when you first brought it up was, these teams are very similar, and they both are led by great guards, but they both can go on runs in a heartbeat. Like Pacers can go on a
Yep.
26 run in a heartbeat. OKC can go on a 20-6 run in a heartbeat. Like I mean, it's incredible how great these teams are and how similar they are in a way.
Yeah. So speaking of similarities, Indiana, Oklahoma City are two of the NBA's smaller markets. In recent years, we've seen the teams like Denver, we've seen Milwaukee, in the middle of that Boston, but we've
Hmm.
seen these smaller market teams kind of build their teams up and be able to you can compete for NBA championships over and over and over again. So do you think this will lead to free agents to consider all teams instead of chasing more of the bigger markets such as like the New York, the Houston, or like trying to get that really big payout from the big markets instead of going to a contending team that might be in the smaller market.
Mm. You know what? I actually really do think this is going to make a difference because they are making noise over there. It's going to attract people. It's going to attract free agents. It's going to attract somebody who wants to win to go over there and make some noise as well. And then I'm really, man, it's almost a pet peeve of mine when I hear like the small market, big market stuff where stars can't thrive in these smaller markets. And I'm like, it makes no sense to me because, I mean, we see a two-time MVP in Nikola Jokic, who, I mean, Denver Nuggets are now well known. If you follow the NBA, you know that the Nuggets is gonna be tough every time you play. And then even then, you go to the Warriors. They weren't a huge major market in the NBA, but when Steph Curry started winning all them championships with the Warriors, then now they become a household name. So winning will turn any small market, big market into a household name. So if Thunder continues to win like they're doing for the next 6, 7 years, they'll be a household name and they'll no longer be looked at as a small market team. And same with the Indiana Pacers. So it bothers me when I hear the small market stuff. Oh, this guy wouldn't want to go play with a small market, or this guy needs to go play with a small market. And to answer your question, yeah, man, I think guys will definitely be open to go play with either one of these great teams now that they're making deep runs in the playoffs, especially when it's led by great point guards like Tyrese Haliburton and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because both of these guys share the wealth, they share the ball, they get their team involved. And I mean, if you a forward, you a wing, like who wouldn't want to go play with that? So I definitely think you'll get some more attention from the free agents and all of that stuff too.
Yeah, so I really point to both these teams being able to build through the draft. You feel me? They've been able to make great trades
Mm-hmm.
and also draft extremely well. Even
Facts.
the Pacers, you feel me?
Yep.
Being able to draft a very deep bench that has helped them throughout this playoff run.
Yep.
So I think this shift kind of happened with the Warriors in being able to kind of build your team through the draft,
Yeah.
whereas during like the early 2010s, you feel me, being geared toward having a big three and having three superstar players that whether you get them via free agency or you get them via trade. So now teams are really trying to build organically through the draft, and I really love that for the NBA.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the nail, bro. I mean, the Warriors was a team that initially they became a super team because of the players they drafted. They became a super team through the draft, like you initially said. And a lot of teams tried to cheat it in a way, and I think we still seen a lot of teams in recent years try to cheat that whole process of building a super team when it's been kind of proven that you can't really cheat that process. It hasn't been too many teams. You said who?
Cough, Phoenix.
Cough, Phoenix. Yeah, literally, bro. Like you spent all this money, traded away your whole entire future of your franchise. So now you're going to be bad for the next decade. And like you tried to cheat the process and it did not work. So Brooklyn Nets is another one. They tried to cheat the process, did not work. Luckily, they were able to make some other deals to kind of put some things back in motion where they're not going to be completely screwed in the future. But this is a process you can't cheat, man. If you build a super team, I think it's been showed on multiple examples that you kind of got to work your way through a draft and you got to be able to draft good to an extent because there's far too many examples of teams building a super team through a draft. You look at OKC, you look at the Boston Celtics, you look at the Denver Nuggets, you look at all of these teams who have built teams through the draft, whether it was the core or just some extra pieces to have on the bench. But trying to cheat it out like the Phoenix Suns and Brooklyn Nets, and there's a lot of other teams, even Milwaukee Bucks, you could argue now they were trying to kind of cheat the process, but don't really work like that, man. You got to draft well if you want to see some sort of success in the league. It's been very few teams that's been able to cheat the process and actually come out successful by winning a championship.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we should pivot to on the court now for this
Okay.
NBA Finals. So these teams are very similar. As I said, they're great offensive teams, but I give OKC the edge defensively a bit with all the different defenders and length that they have on the court. So, what will be the deciding factor to determine this NBA Finals series?
It's gonna come down to consistency, man. It's gonna come down to the consistency. So like obviously OKC is a great defensive team. They're an amazing defensive team. People think I don't really like OKC, and I'm on a record. Actually, I can't even say that. I've said I don't like OKC. I can't even sit here and say people think I don't like. I've said it multiple times, so I can't really say that. Anyway, so despite the things I dislike about OKC, I'm not crazy enough to sit here and argue that they're not a great defensive team or offensive team. This is an extremely talented team, and I think it's going to just come down to consistency in terms of shooting the ball, scoring the ball, and most importantly, defending. Pacers are also a great defensive team, and they can also shoot the ball, score the ball very well, but it's just going to be who can do it more consistently and who can be more consistent throughout the game. Now, what I've seen throughout the playoffs, it's hard to decide. Initially, people are going to say, oh, well, Oklahoma City, they're easily the more consistent team. Look how they looked against the Timberwolves. Please do not forget here. The Timberwolves were one game away from being a play-in team. So seriously, I know they made it to the conference finals, but let's keep it a buck. They were not extremely talented like a lot of people hyped up because they beat an injured Warriors team. Like let's cut the BS. Let's stop playing with right there. And then the only time OKC was tested in terms of where they had to be consistent every night was against the Denver Nuggets when they played a complete team while those guys were healthy. There was times they were inconsistent and not really shooting the best. They were playing sloppy. There was multiple games where Denver and OKC were both playing extremely sloppy, just turning the ball over and missing shots. So Thunder also has that flaw of inconsistency as well. But I think the Pacers get the reps so heavy because of Tyrese Haliburton. There's times where Tyrese Haliburton doesn't have his big games where he's not giving a 30-point triple-double and things like that. He might finish the night with only 9 points and 6 assists, which is fine as long as they win, but because it's the point guard who's supposed to be the star of the team, having these lower nights and these lower stat field nights, people want to easily label them inconsistent. But in reality, OKC is also in the same boat of the consistency battle. So that's going to be the biggest issue. One is going to be consistency. And then I also really feel like it's going to come down to, the shot making ability, not necessarily just 3-pointers, but just shot making. With the Indiana Pacers, one of the things I noticed with them is not only do they shoot threes and can everybody shoot threes, but they just take advantage of the good shot that's wide open. If it's a mid-range, they shoot it. I noticed with OKC, they do the same thing. If it's a mid range, they shoot it. So whoever can just make the most shots as well. And that's kind of obvious, of course, since you have to score. But I think that is going to be something that's extremely pivotal too. So I will watch those field goal percentages and those field goals numbers in this series pretty heavy.
Yeah, so one thing I do notice about the Pacers when they do play is they play a very fast paced and up tempo brand of basketball. They're trying to get out and run and keep the
Mm-hmm.
defense off balance. So the Oklahoma City Thunder have a lot of lengthy defenders, but I feel like what beats that is the ability to score in transition, create turnovers, and it really comes down to their ability to guard Shea. That's always the biggest question you have whenever you're playing against the Oklahoma City Thunder is how do
This is
you
true.
stop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from being the MVP and doing what he can do.
Well, the biggest thing, how to stop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you can't. You can't stop him. I mean, he's a bucket. Regardless of what I say about him foul baiting and stuff, he is a bucket, and that's what bothers me most about that foul baiting stuff because he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't. He's such a great offensive player. He does not have to rely on the foul calls and rely on the free throws. However, he does. So that's going to be a pivotal point of defending him is trying to limit the amount of calls that he gets. If you can limit the amount of calls that sends him to the free throw line, or even in general, it will play a huge role in helping the Indiana Pacers because a lot of times, even if he's not going to the free throw line, and people don't, this is stuff the stat sheet does not tell you. Even if Shai isn't going to the free throw line, it's a momentum breaker. When the refs is blowing these whistles and getting Shai all these little soft foul calls, whether he's going to the free throw line or not, people don't understand this is a momentum breaker. You could be on a 5-0 run, and if Shai slows the game down by getting a foul, grabbing somebody's arm, and the ref blows the whistle, it's slowing the entire game down, whether he gets free throws or not. So to me, that's going to be pivotal in terms of trying to defend OKC and defend Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is can you limit the amount of times the ref blows the whistle calling a foul while he has the ball? Because like it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. And that's a hard task for anybody on the Pacers to fulfill.
It is a very difficult task. The Oklahoma City Thunder are a very talented team. So for the overall series outlook, I do think the Pacers will give them great bump. But I got Oklahoma City in seven.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. Crazy.
You may call me a front runner. I would like to see the Indiana Pacers kind of make because I feel like it would be an upset if they do win because they have the MVP. They are the favorite. But I really just think the Oklahoma City Thunder are a very talented basketball team, and have the ability to overwhelm other teams with
Y'all
on both
killing
ends
me,
of the
man.
floor.
Y'all killing me. Oh, y'all killing me, Jared. How much time you got? Because I know you got to go pretty soon. And oh, man, because, yeah, y'all killing me. I understand what people say when they're like, OKC is such a talented team. But have you watched the Indiana Pacers? Have y'all watched the Indiana Pacers play basketball? Bro, this is an extremely talented team too. Like they played so similar to OKC. So for everybody who's like, "Oh, OKC, they're just so talented," I don't know. They're so is the Indiana Pacers. I'm like they
I feel like
play.
it's the way. It's the
It's
way in which their team is built. They are built on length, athleticism, and being able to play on
okay.
both sides of the floor.
I got that. But look, bro, the Pacers is built 1 through 5. Everybody can score the ball, and they're lengthy as well. You got to say Siakam and Miles Turner down there. Nobody is going. I'm sorry. Look, Chet is a great defender. Love Chet. He's a great defender, and if anything, he's proved how great of a defender he is all postseason. But Hartenstein is also a good defender. Hartenstein ain't gonna be able to guard Miles Turner off the 3-point line. He's not gonna be able to do it. It ain't happening. And then if Chet is getting put in a pick and roll and he got to guard, let's say Haliburton or somebody, and now you swing it to Siakam, who's another lengthy defender who can score inside out and anywhere on the floor. Bro, people don't realize OKC is talented, but the Pacers have 5 starters who can score from anywhere on the floor at all times, inside and out. They can shoot mid-range 3-pointers and inside. OKC is a great team, and I know they are very well put together, but they don't have 5 people who can score from every single place on the floor
I respect it.
all at once.
I respect it. They definitely have not seen a team like this Pacers team. This Pacers team is extremely offensively gifted. Yes, I do agree with you on that front. However, they didn't win all these games for nothing. So I might be a bit of a casual.
Hey.
I might be a bit of a casual, but I really do see, I see the MVP, I see the record, and it's really hard to go against that.
And I mean, yeah, it is hard to to go against them because of the record, and like they are talented as well. And like I said, I want to give them the respect. I give them the respect, but it's hard for me to give them the respect when people say, "Oh well, okay, she's so talented," and I'm like, "Well, have you seen the Pacers and how
All of these
talented
teams are
they
talented.
are?"
All
And
of these teams are talented.
yeah, and I, and
So it
it,
really comes down to coaching.
it comes down to coach, and then also too. Let's be real, Pacers got the advantage there too because Rick Carlisle is the championship coach. Siakam is the champion. I know OKC also has a champion at Alex Caruso, which is a huge help for them, and he's been tremendous. But
He
I kind
has.
of want to. You said what?
So he has been tremendous, but I mean it's like
It's
you know
it, bro. I'm gonna say this. People talk about even the journey. Okay, well, OKC they were number one seed all year, number one seed, which is great. Obviously, they're doing what a number one seed is supposed to do. First off, let's be honest, and then second of all, when we talk about what this team has been doing all postseason and how great they've been all postseason, let's just look at some of the damn competition they've been playing, man. This is a number one seed. Of course, they got the
yeah.
easiest schedule in the playoffs. They played the Memphis Grizzlies, whacked them. Ja Morant did have them figure it out. No, we can't forget that, but he got hurt. Oh, so he couldn't even really finish. Then you go against the Denver Nuggets, who with Nikola Jokic is an amazing player. And then they take him to 7, but Michael Porter Jr. can't really run up the floor. And Gordon can't run up the floor. So now they're hurt. They were a complete team and they took him to 7. So we see how that was happening. It was a lot of back and forth in that series. And then we go against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and this is where people forget about the postseason. This is where they really forget who the Timberwolves are. Okay, the Timberwolves. We look at this right here, man. Timberwolves were 1 game above the Memphis Grizzlies, who were a play-in team. Why are we acting like the Memphis Grizzlies are 2-time champions? Because they have Anthony Edwards, who was in back-to-back conference finals. Well, Anthony Edwards didn't even show up in the conference finals pretty much. So it's like, these are the things where I'm like, bro, I get it. They're a good team, but damn. So with that being said, I guess Indiana Patriots in 7. In 7.
I can respect it. I can
In
respect it.
7. In 7. All right, Jerry, you got any more questions for me since I'm on the stand today, man?
No, that's all I got for you. Did a great job answering those, man. I definitely appreciate your insight.
Of course, man. Well, you're always welcome anytime. You're always welcome to come up here. Y'all gonna see more of Jared, of course, anytime. Jared is always, popping through on the pod. Like I said, he hasn't been a stranger at all to the platform. So he'll be on here. And then check out the work, too, that he's done in terms of his own freelance writing, man. He's been killing it. Check out some of the articles. They're on the runusa.com and also follow him on IG and all of that stuff. But he's putting out some real dope sports articles, man, in the realm of football, basketball, and like whatever is on his mind. So, check it out. And then Jared, let the people know where they can find you. Let them know where they can find more of your work and all of that stuff as well if they want to look at it.
I guess on Instagram, my handle is jr.bell double underscores. And then also on TikTok at one take JB. So I definitely appreciate the platform as always, man.
Yeah, of course, of
What
course.
you what you're doing here.
Well, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate you for helping me out with what I'm doing, man. I mean, I can't let that go unnoticed either. All right, so I'm gonna just leave y'all with a positive note here. Every show we finish off with a positive note, and the positive note today is just gonna be embrace the journey. It's just gonna be that simple, man. Just embrace the journey wherever you are. You only get to live it once, and you only get to figure it out once. Because once it's figured out, you're gonna be looking for the next thing to do. So just embrace the journey while you're in it. I try and tell myself this, but try and share with y'all too. Other than that, man, that's all we got for y'all today. So greatly appreciate you for tuning in, especially if you're on a live stream and you're kicking it with us here. Yeah, man, let's go ahead and check us out. Follow us on Instagram at The Run Podcast. Also on TikTok, Instagram at The Run Podcast, YouTube at The Run Podcast, all of that. But other than that, man, we'll be back later on this week, and so on and so on and so on.